Previously on Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Link awakens from the Temple of Resurrection with little to no memory as to what came before. Upon emerging from the temple, discovers that Hyrule is once again in grave danger by Calamity Ganon. At the start of the journey, we meet a wise old man who tells us about the past 100 years of Hyrule. Upon further discovery, it is concluded that the enemy forces are tougher than ever. Therefore, one must depend on their wits to outsmart the enemy and their surrounding environment to excel in combat. Lurking around every corner is a Bokoblin camp, waiting to take on Link in combat, facing him to the death. Arrow after arrow, sword after sword. Each enemy stands to gain something from stopping our intrepid hero from marching his way forth to Hyrule Castle. Across vast plains, mountainous regions, and harsh climates, Link alone will be facing a new world like no other. Link must venture out into the wilderness to uncover his lost memories and therefore save Hyrule once again from the great calamity. May the goddess of Hylia protect Link upon his travels. Will the greater forces of Calamity Ganon be enough to stop Link as he braves his new world? Stick around and find out to the end. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to find out more. Upon meeting the old man, I decide to make my way over to the nearest Bokoblin camp to secure myself fresh supplies. Of course, first on the objective is to take out the main archer and then sneak my way towards the crates. One after another, securing supplies while trying not to get detected. I continue to tread lightly to make my way as close to their weapon stash as I can. Of course, we all know how that went. And that, my dear children, is where greed gets you. After evading the enemy forces, I decide to tread to the first shrine. Other than that, what did you expect? It's a pretty vanilla experience so far. With the first shrine activated, we can then make our way forth to collect the first rune. With the power of Magnesis at play, I toss away at any metallic obstacles in my path to push forward and conquer any and all enemies that stand in my way. The rest is pretty self-explanatory, though I'd say it's roughly for my own amusement, rather than out of necessity. I can't even operate doors right. Haha! First try. After breaking through the end of the trial, I'm then met by a dormant Sheikah member who grants me a spirit orb as a sign of my true courage. These are going to be important to collect for later on. After I exit the shrine, I'm greeted by the old man who checks in on me after completing the first shrine. Of course, he knows I get my hands on a spirit orb, however, is not ready to fork over the paraglider, which puts me out of luck. Now I've got 3 more shrines to do. Fast forward to the evening, and I am now at the side of the shrine, attempting to go after this loot. However, I'll need my aim to be sharp. I then cross into dangerous waters to secure the treasure.
Wow!
After being spotted once again, I take sight of a bokoblin that sees me from above, on the other side of the lake. I then seek cover. After taking a breather, I decide to swim back in to collect the rest of the loot. Unbeknownst to me, this would be a grave mistake.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me.
After suffering that miserable defeat, I decide to make my way over to the Sheikah Tower, where the old man is surprisingly waiting for me. Because I wouldn't consider myself an amateur, I made sure to go ahead and place those Sheikah markers and advance to uncover the other shrine locations to therefore save on time. I make my way over to the second shrine, marked by the red square, on the map. This particular shrine area is a bit closed off, so therefore I have to kind of tread up and over the walls and evade sight from the guardians. Close call. Or
Wow!
as I re-emerge from the shrine, I'm then greeted by 2 skeletons of the undead. Yeah, these guys get real annoying at night, but you know what? Free stuff. Not too bad. Across the outer perimeter, I come into close contact with the Guardian that notices me from close range. We're just gonna ignore that and keep running. It's awfully dark out. There's Lionel in the distance and another Bokoblin camp just up ahead. Is this really the time to tiptoe away from danger? I really can't with these. Yeah, never mind them. I'm gonna make a run for it. I make my way over to the old man's cottage where I steal his stuff. A lot of it, for the most part, is very useful, so I may as well. After doing a little bit of exploring, I decide to make preparations for the road ahead. This pine tree is going to take me across, safe and sound, to the next leg of my journey. And because of the impending danger just up ahead, I decide to wield a weapon, strongest one out of the bunch, to inflict pain. From here, I have the element of surprise. And batters up. Strike. Ah, he saw me. I was too loud. At last, it is first light. Morning hits just over the horizon as I make my way towards the mountain top. I make my way up the mountain, attempting not to lose any sleep. From morning through night. Make my way over to the next trial. Repeating the same task as if it were any other. Collecting the very runes I need to conquer the entirety of Hyrule. After emerging from the third shrine, I decide to make my way up the mountain to Mount Hylia, surrounded by layers upon layers of snow, doing the best I can to not be spotted by any distant bokoblins. Ascending up the mountain and taking out any enemies that are in my path. On the final length of the road, I ascend down the mountain to make my way towards the final shrine. From there, I uncover the final rune, Cryonis. The ability to create pillars of ice from any plane of water. At the end of the shrine, this feat alone marks the end of the first chapter of this long road ahead. Afterwards, the old man meets me again to congratulate me on collecting the 4 spirit orbs. He then invites me to visit him at a place on the map where the 4 shrines intersect, that being the Temple of Time. Then again, out of impulse, I decide to engage in another petty feud with a bokoblin from down below. Of course, this is probably a wasteful use of arrows. Yeah, more so than I'd like to admit. Out of sheer frustration, I decide to eliminate him myself from close range. Of course, that's easier said than done. And without any warning, we both end up in the lake, dying together. Towards the final light in the evening, I decide to make my way towards the Temple of Time.
Wait a minute.
From there, I collect my brand new heart container long before meeting the old man at the top of the roof. This takes us to the end of part 2 of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. For those of you guys who made it to the very end, stick around very soon to see part 3, uploaded very shortly. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.